The SJW D&D community has decided to come together, unify their purpose, and prove Arch right. Which, in and of itself, is not a rare occurrence. Arch being right, that is, of course, but I do admit this is an unusual vector for the praise to take. I'm not necessarily accustomed to being proven so thoroughly vindicated by the SJWs of all people, but being an open-hearted and kind man, I will of course accept accolades from any direction that wants to proffer it. In this particular scenario, they are saying, Arch, thank you so very much for making your videos on gatekeeping. It turns out that yes, we are actually incredibly intolerant, and we will gatekeep actively whilst declaring ourselves open and inclusive. Oh, the smooth-brainedness of it all. It is... I was about to say it's parody, but no, it's far beyond parody. So what happened here is that GenCon has confirmed that they would deny the application of TSR, a gaming company, to attend their convention if they applied. So TSR hasn't even applied to attend, they have been preemptively cancelled. TSR is the company created quite recently by Gary Gygax's son, the actual original creator of Dungeons and Dragons. And he is trumpeting this as a return to form, a return to the good old days of RPG tabletop gaming, with their first project being Giant Lands with Ernst Gary Gygax Jr. They have now been cancelled. Oh why? Well, actually, before we get into the why, let's have a look at some of the reactions here. Listen, thanks to the Oxygen Thieves getting validated by Ernie Gygax, shit's gonna get loud in the scene for a while. Close ranks, shield up, and don't give an inch. Sounds like gatekeeping to me. The tabletop RPG scene is ours, laughing, open, and ready to keep it that way. Look out for each other. D&D may never have been a perfect diamond, but he's right about one thing. We will not give it back to those that work so gleefully to oppress, objectify, and exclude. This is ours now. I made an entire video on this, a video series on it practically on gatekeeping. First and foremost, I asked the question, is gatekeeping bad? No. And people like these, I mean, they are making the argument for me. But here's the thing as well, the crucial difference here is I made another video called The Consequences of Not Gatekeeping. The consequences of not keeping people like these here out of the hobby is that when they're in, oh, they'll turn right around and go, actually, hold on, we're inclusive, we're loving and open, so you have to leave now. And they will then go to the companies, they will make demands, they will literally close the doors, they will refuse to offer you the product. And we've seen this again and again in so many hobbies where there were never any rules. Nobody ever, I bet you, nobody in Dungeons and Dragons ever put up a poster saying, blacks not allowed, homosexuals not allowed, none of that. But now, well, if you're of the incorrect political opinion, or hell, even said something spicy on the internet, you best bet you're not allowed. So what is the crime here then? What is the gleeful oppression, objectification and exclusion that has caused all of this? I mean, this guy here, this Ernie Gygax fella, must have done something horrible, right? I mean, he must have literally created a plantation and objectified the slaves, I take it. He apparently, on a podcast here, on a little YouTube channel, said that the project he is creating, his concept, is going to be reminiscent of the good old days for the RPG gamers who long for the days when there were only two genders. You know, every time I think to myself, like, this is the bottom, like, this is the pettiest excuse to attack anyone I have ever seen, the next day, the very next goddamn day, something worse comes up. Oh, heavens. And again, that is the key, crucial goddamn point here. Again, consequences of gatekeeping. I was not embellishing. I was not lying in the slightest. You give these goddamn literal fascists any power, it's not about curating the hobby, because that is the first and foremost message of gatekeeping. That is why you should gatekeep. It is to maintain the quality and the integrity of the setting, of the rules, and of the universe. 40k was gatekept quite ferociously for many years, and it led to it having one of the most internally consistent universes in sci-fi or fantasy history. Same with Warhammer Fantasy as well. And it is no coincidence that recently, a good, decade of stability, of constant quality, suddenly has started to take quite the nosedive. Suddenly the story is changing so drastically and so often. Again, not a coincidence. Meanwhile, these people, their gatekeeping has nothing to do with maintaining consistency, with quality, because they have a greater good. Their goal isn't to have D&D be good, to be a perfect diamond, because of course, this this woman's objection right here is, it's not a perfect diamond. D&D is deeply flawed. Right off the bat, it's like, I don't actually like this hobby, but, it's popular, and girls gotta make a living. But he's right about one thing. We need to gatekeep. And why do we need to gatekeep? Do we need to keep out the people who'd ruin the hobby, who'd simplify the rule set, who'd make bad stories, or screw up with the canon, start randomly changing the lore? Is that the reason? No. It's political buzzword. Oppression. See, again, it's such a retarded point, I don't even want to make it, but oppression in a tabletop role-playing game. Even if there's a group somewhere that literally roleplays a slave cotton farm, who the hell is being hurt by this? Oh no, we must protect the imaginary slaves. Objectification. Why do you care? Don't worry, nobody's gonna objectify you. Personal guarantees. It's fine. And of course, exclusion. Again, here's the thing, right? I made this point about the whole, Warhammer is for everyone campaign that Games Workshop ran quite a while ago. That's the creators of 40k. They made a campaign which essentially stated with, if you agree with us, we're happy to have you. If you don't, you won't be missed. That was the gist of the message. And I made a video basically just saying, Games Workshop, 40k, Warhammer, it has always been open to everyone. At no point in the company's entire history has somebody been denied the purchase or entry or access to this game for, well, any reason. You can be a convicted murderer and play 40k. You can be a convicted rapist. You could be a goddamn dictator. You can play 40k. And stuff like skin color, race, genitalia, these things were so utterly irrelevant that we didn't even know what was happening when the crazies broke down the door and accused us of being sexist. So we would go, what? No, we're not. Are you insane? Look at all of these examples of representation, as you call it, of the Sisters of Battle, etc. And that, of course, was just further fuel to the nonsense fire, wasn't it? As it was all roundly ignored and talked around. They have a political objective here. They have a greater good. Their greater good is inclusion, diversity. And of course, that doesn't mean diversity of thought, as, again, thoroughly demonstrated. It means diversity of uniformity. I know, No, but it does make a whole lot of sense, and yet, here we are. Gatekeep. Gatekeep, gatekeep, gatekeep. Always gatekeep, and it is very heartening to see. One of the first things that I posted here is a fantastic comic right here that basically goes, oh, I'll show it to you because it really is absolutely great. Can I play? Sure. This game is too difficult. Can we change it? No, we've been playing this for years. Why are you excluding me? Spot the lie, I guess. And once, of course, they cave in and simplify the rules, because the screaming hordes are pointing, you're not being inclusive. So here's dumbed down rules, here's simplified rules, here's a worse rule set and a worse universe. I don't wanna. Then you don't have to join us. That is gatekeeping right there. That entire act of going, mine now, I have defined this to be my thing, this is ours now. And then somebody objects, hold on, I don't know if I like that. Shield closed, gills, gate closed, out you go. And of course, it will never end there, as it becomes an absolute tyranny of woke cultists which will cancel you, which will bar you from events, which will do everything in their power to stop you even from creating your own alternative because they're offended. Gatekeep, my friends. It's not too late. Call it out, attack it, gatekeep it, exclude them. They are the greatest bigots on the surface of this earth. Never forget, they hate you. And frankly, there's no reason not to hate them back at this point, is it? Is it a sin to be bigoted against the bigots? No, because again, as Karl Popper say, you must only exclude people when they reject the argument and reach for the fist and the pistol. I think we've been there for a decade or so now. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. And remember, 1, Arch always right, and 2, gatekeep, gatekeep, gatekeep.